inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Beyond measure.
I'm gonna show you how great I am. Last night I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark. I'm gonna show you how great I am. Only last week I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
This kid's gonna be the best kid in the world. This kid's gonna be somebody better than anybody ever knew.
I'm gonna show you how great I am. I have wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. I'm gonna show you how great I am. All of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Because if you're willing to go through all the battling you gotta go through to get to where you want to get, who's got the right to stop you? I mean, maybe some of you guys got something you never finished, something you really want to do, something you never said to somebody, something. And you're told no, even after you pay your dues. Who's got the right to tell you that? Who? Nobody. It's your right to listen to your gut. It ain't nobody's right to say no. After you earn the right to be where you want to be and do what you want to do. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same, as we are liberated from our own fear. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
All of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
So you want to get a degree. Why? Let me tell you what society will tell you. It increases your chances of getting a job, provides you with an opportunity to be successful. Your life will be a lot less stressful. Education is the key. Now let me tell you what your parents will tell you. Make me proud. It increases your chances of getting a job, provides you with an opportunity to be successful. Your life will be a lot less stressful. Education is the key. Now let's look at the statistics. Steve Jobs, net worth, 7 billion, RIP. Richard Branson, net worth, 4.2 billion. Oprah Winfrey, net worth, 2.7 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, Henry Ford, Steven Spielberg, Bill Gates. Now here comes the coup de grace. Looking at these individuals, what's your conclusion? Neither of them, in being successful, ever graduated from a higher learning institution. Now some of you will protest like, you know, money is only the medium by which one measures worldly success. And some of you even have the nerve to say, I don't do it for the money. So what are you studying for? To work for a charity? Need more clarity? Let's look at the statistics. Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon him, Socrates, Malcolm X, Mother Teresa, Spielberg, Shakespeare, Beethoven, Jesse Owens, Muhammad Ali, Sean Carter, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, Michael Joseph Jackson, were either of these people unsuccessful or uneducated? All I'm saying is that if there was a family tree, hard work and education would be related, but school would probably be a distant cousin. As if education is the key, then school is the lock. Because it rarely ever develops your mind to the point where it can perceive red as green and continue to go when someone else said stop. Because as long as you follow the rules and pass the exams, you're cool. But are you aware that examiners have a checklist? And if your answer is something outside of the box, the automatic response is a cross. And then they claim that school expands your horizons and your visions. Well, tell that to Malcolm X, who dropped out of school and is well renowned for what he learned in a prison. Proverbs 17:16. It does a fool no good to spend money on education. Why? Because he has no common sense. George Bush. Need I say more? Education is about inspiring one's mind, not just filling their head. And take this from me, because I'm an educated man myself, who only came to this realization after countless nights in the library, with a can of Red Bull keeping me awake till dawn and another can in the morn, falling asleep in between piles of books which probably equated to the same amount I had spent on my rent, memorize equation, facts and dates right down to the letter, half of which I'd never remember and half of which I'd forget straight after the exam and before the start of the next semester, asking anyone if they had notes for the last lecture. I often found myself running to class just so I could find a spot on which I could rest my head and fall asleep without making a scene. Ironic, because that's the only time I ever spent in university chasing my dreams. And then after nights with a dead mind, I then find myself in a queue of half-awake student zombies waiting to hand in an assignment. Maybe that's why they called it a deadline. And then after 3 years of mental suppression and frustration, my proud mother didn't even turn up to my graduation. Now, I'm not saying that school is evil and there's nothing to gain, but all I'm saying is understand your motives and reassess your aims, because if you want a job working for someone else, then help yourself. But then that would be a contradiction, because you wouldn't really be helping yourself, you'd be helping somebody else. There's a saying which says, if you don't build your dream, someone else will hire you to help build theirs. Redefine how you view education. Understand its true meaning. Education is not just about regurgitating facts from a book on someone else's opinion on a subject to pass an exam. Look at it. Picasso was educated in creating art. Shakespeare was educated in the art of all that was written. Colonel Harlan Sanders was educated in the art of creating Kentucky Fried Chicken. I once saw David Beckham take a free kick. I watched as the side of his Adidas sponsored boot hit the patent leather of the ball at an angle which caused it to travel towards the skies as though it was destined for the heavens. And then as it reached the peak of its momentum, as though it changed its mind, it switched directions. I watched as the goalkeeper froze, as though reciting to himself the laws of physics, and as though his brain was negotiating with his eyes that it was indeed witnessing the spectacle of the leather swan that was swooping towards it, and then reacting. But only a fraction of a millisecond too late. And before the net of the goal embraced the FIFA-sponsored ball as though it was the prodigal son returning home, and the country that I live in erupted into cheers, I looked at the play and thought, damn, looking at David Beckham, there's more than one way in this world to be an educated man.
Wow, wow, wow. Welcome, everybody. That is a video I don't think I've seen in maybe 8 years or so. It's been a long time. Welcome. This is our special once a year broadcast of The Secret. And I've been looking forward for tonight for a long time now, because you have to understand this. What I'm going to share tonight is not my information. It is not something I made up. It is not something that I have figured it out, and I figured out how to apply it to my life. But this is information and knowledge that everybody has access to, but most people don't know exist. And the reason why I've been looking forward for tonight is because I need this just as much as some of you that are going to be hearing it tonight for maybe the first time, or for some of you, you've heard this over and over before. And I've been doing this now for 12 years. In the early days, I used to do it like once a month, and then I stopped. Just to let you know, my mentors back in the day advised me not to share this information or speak on this information in a public setting, that it was more for the background midnight cigar filled room, with other like-minded individuals, to share our experiences as we use this knowledge in our lives, and to share how it has impacted us in our lives. But that is not information that the public is qualified to digest. And I think that's the key word there, qualified. So I already know from what I shared tonight, most people aren't qualified to receive it, but at least it will plant a seed for you to know that that information is there for the time you're willing to receive it. It's like a child that hears stuff. They don't get it today, but they may get it 2-3 years from now. And that's what happened to me, because I first heard of this when I first came into making the decision I wanted to go into direct sales and become an entrepreneur and work for myself back in 1998. In those days, if you joined a network marketing company, you were told you got to work on personal development and self-improvement. And they say you got to listen to Les Brown and Jim Rohn, and read Your First Year in Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell, and read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and then Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and Bob Proctor. And we're told these things. Most people don't do it. And then even 90% of the people that do don't have a full understanding of it. It took me 10 years, 10 years to figure it out. So before I go into this, I want to welcome all of you guys for logging in. This is the last broadcast of 2023 from myself, and also we're getting ready for New Year's Eve. And so if you're taking time out of your schedule on a Saturday night, I appreciate it. I don't know how long I'm going to go tonight. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. But I don't have a set plan on exactly what I'm going to say, because how can I say this? There's going to be speaking through me, if some of you will get that. And I'm going to be like a passenger listening, just like you guys. Because like I said, again, this is not my information. So how was your guys' 2023? As we now come to the end of the year, think back 1 year ago when you first set your goals for New Year's 2022, getting ready for 2023. Now that we can look back and reflect, were you able to accomplish any of your goals that you set a year ago? And even if you didn't, did you at least make choices and take action to move in the direction to achieve your goals? There's two people say, well, I failed. Well, there's two types of failure. There's a failure that you never even tried, or there's a failure that you tried and you didn't succeed, but at least you tried. I can live with that. If I don't achieve all my goals, I need to know that at least I tried. I put in the effort and I tried. And you can pat yourself on the back with that. when I reflect on myself over this past year, I did reach a lot of goals that I set. I was very happy and pleased with the progress. There were a lot of things that did not happen that I wanted to, but I set myself up because I believe what Jim Rohn says. Build a financial wall around your house so high that nothing can penetrate it, so that you're prepared for any of the unknowns that happen to you. And I'm going to talk about the unknowns, but you're prepared for that because you can't control the things that happen to you, but you can control how you respond to the things that happen to you that can dictate your life. And I had myself set up for that scenario, but then I got humbled. The last 45 days, I got humbled big time, and I would share that at the end. But the key is to set your goal. Where do you want to be 1 year from now? Don't worry about what you have to do to get there. Don't even concern your thought process on, dang, I have to do this, I have to do this. No. Just focus on where would you like to be 1 year from now that's better than where you are today. That should be the main focus. You get that image in your mind, and that is what you're focusing on. That's what you're vibing on. That's what your that mental image in your head that stays there like a picture. That's the key. So let's backtrack just a bit. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brandon Ivy from Los Angeles, California. I'm the founder and CEO of Ivy League Crypto Academy, ILCA for short. I've been in the direct selling industry now for the 25 years, going on 26 years next year, but 25 years this month. I got started in 1998, my senior year at Morehouse College. I failed my first 10 years in business, but I knew that I was at least on the right path because I realized one thing when I was in college, that what they were teaching me to do was no longer viable. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I say, if you want to have success in America, you've got to go to school, get good grades, get a good, safe, secure job, a job that will take care of you for the rest of your life. And I followed that path. I went, got a good education, tried to get a good job, but due to no fault of my own, I was laid off not once, but twice. Laid off twice. And if you were lucky not to have been laid off in your life, this is the reality of the lucky ones. And this is 1998, that you were going to retire broke. If you're lucky to have that same job for 40 years, you would still retire broke depending on family, government, and friends by the age of 65. No Social Security, no 401k. Your house is a liability and not an asset. No investments, more than likely in steep credit card debt, now with health problems and issues, and a family to take care of. The average American doesn't even have $1,000 in their savings account. The average American cannot afford a $400 emergency if something were to happen to them today without going into debt. That was in 1998. So I knew I had to find a better way, thinking outside the box. So if you make that decision, what are the wealthy people doing? How do they live? What decisions are they making? What actions are they taking in their day-to-day lives? And all I need to do is duplicate it. And that's when I ran into the industry of network marketing, because this industry at that time had created more millionaires and billionaires than any other industry in the world combined. So if you're looking to change your station in life, you've got to make a different decision than the ones you have been. You see, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, yet expecting a different result. And you think that the way you change your life is by winning the lottery. And so when you know that, the next question is, how? How do I change my life? How do I get more than what I'm currently getting? I'm already doing everything that I was taught to do. I don't know how to do anything else. I don't know how to think a different way. I was like that at one point. So I got into this direct sales network marketing thing, but it still wasn't working. I'm in these companies and they're saying that if I sell the product and if I call my friends and family and I start recruiting, that I'm going to be able to walk off my job. That didn't happen to me. It didn't happen to most of the people I saw around me. But it did happen for some people. And I knew if it can happen for them, it can happen for me. I just got to figure out what they're doing. I knew the one thing that I had going for me was my work ethic. That I knew that you just give me an open playing field with no barrier, nothing to stop me, and let me put me on a treadmill. You put me on a treadmill, me and you, only two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to win or I'm going to die trying. That's my mentality. It was that Mamba mentality, Michael Jordan mentality. There is no quit until the job gets done. That's how I operate. So I knew with my work ethic, I can make it happen. My grandfather and my father instilled something in me when I was very young about work. They said, no matter what you do, you be the best at it. You work the hardest at it. I don't care. This is I'm speaking my grandfather's words. I don't care if you're a janitor, a street sweeper, or an elevator operator. Now that I'm an adult and I look back on that, I shake my head. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Look at the three things in the three fields, careers that my grandfather said: janitor, street sweeper, elevator operator. And why? Because the era he came up in, somebody with my skin color, that's all we were allowed to do. So he said, I don't care what you do, you just be the best at it. The hardest worker, hard work will pay off. Is later on in life I realized that that's a lie. The hardest working people are the brokest people, because they're busy working hard in an industry that doesn't pay them enough money to survive. So I realized if I work hard at something, it's got to be in an industry where I have unlimited income potential. If I'm going to work hard at something. So I still take my grandfather and my father's lesson, but I've modified it. So what I'm teaching my two boys: work hard where the river of money is flowing. It's common sense now. No barrier of entry. Be your own man. Be your own boss. Be your own king. Don't let anybody else have a say over you. And I'm going to get to that because this is where it effed me up over the last 45 days. I got humbled. So I took that mentality and I put that work ethic in direct selling, and I still didn't get anywhere. And I didn't understand why. I learned all the products. I learned the compensation plan inside and out. I learned how to give presentations. I was able to give presentations and better than the people on stage that were making all the money. And I remember I had an aha moment one day where I was at a Saturday, Super Saturday, and I'm buzzing because I know this stuff like my back of my hand. And I go into the meeting and I got my little suit on and I have my little badge on, and I still keep it with me. Some of you guys will recognize where this is from. And we had a guest speaker that was flying from out of town to speak to everybody that Saturday morning. And I love that. See, this is before Zoom and Skype and all that stuff. You know, we when we had somebody fly in out of town, that's the only time we heard them. So we had this superstar lady fly in that was going to do the presentation for us, and we had our guests, and Those were the days where you had to meet your guests in the hotel lobby room and hope they showed up in rush hour traffic on a Saturday morning that it might have been raining. And she got up there and she did the presentation, and it was the worst presentation I have ever heard. I was embarrassed. I'm like, y'all flew her out here to do this? I was embarrassed. And at the end of the presentation, she got a standing ovation, and 95% of the guests in the room signed up. And my head exploded. I'm like, hold up. I can do a better job than she did in my sleep. Yeah, she just closed the whole room. Why? Why? Well, there is one thing that she did that I didn't fully understand at the time, was she told her story. That's another trick that I learned. When you figure out how to tell your story, you will have success in any business you get into. People don't buy the product, they buy you. That was a lesson that I learned. It took me too long to learn it. People don't buy the compensation plan. People don't buy the product. People don't buy the name of the company. They buy you. And I learned I have to sell me, not the product, not the company. Because people want to believe that if you have a story like them and you found a way out, that you can show them how to do the same thing, that they can relate to you. I had put myself in such a position where nobody could relate to me. Nobody could do a presentation like me, and it was a turnoff. They love hearing me, but ain't nobody can do it like that, you know? It's not duplicatable. That was one of the first lessons I learned. And then the second came a couple of years later when I did two things. 2011 was one of the worst years for my family's life. That's a story that I will never share. But that was one of the worst years of my family's life. And it was at that time I was looking hard for a way out. And I'm like, I've tried everything. There's got to be a way. And I remember my mentor saying, Brandon, you already know. We've been teaching you this. You just refuse to take action on it. And this is The Secret. Now, if you've heard of The Secret, some of you might have seen the movie, The Secret, Rhonda Byrne, and millions of people around the world have. They either saw the movie or they read the book. And for a lot of people, they still didn't see any results from it. And they didn't understand why. I know why. And I'm going to tell you guys. This is why I only do this once a year. Think back to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, or Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dennis Kimbrough. Thoughts are things. Earl Nightingale has a famous album, because that was back then, it was a record player album, called The Strangest Thing. That what you think about, you can become, you can make reality. Most people, they call it the secret, but it's not secret. It's been in front of our faces since the beginning of time. I remember when Oprah, they were telling her about The Secret, and she was like, wait a minute, that's a secret? I've been doing that all my life. Many people do it and don't know that they're doing it. But most people have no clue. They're not even doing it at all. In fact, society discourages us from doing it. Society works against us, and it's designed that way. The powers that be don't want you practicing this. See, slavery never ended. It just morphed and formed into something else. And most people are still slaves, and it doesn't even matter the color of your skin. It's class system. You don't even know it. You think you're free, but you're not. Like, well, I can choose whatever job I want. You know, jobs are designed to pay you only enough money so you don't quit. And you will only work hard enough so that you don't get fired. And they give you 2 days off at the end of the week, and that you are free to go and do whatever you want. And the government is not worried about you leaving the plantation because they know you only have enough resources to only go so far anyway. And that by Monday morning at 8 o'clock, they know you're going to be right at your cubicle. So they don't care where you go between Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And then they throw religion in there on Sunday to get your spirit filled up so you can survive another week of stagnation and this cycle. And they start teaching us from preschool to live a certain life. Just like we have the same schedule at our jobs that we had in school. I remember my Aunt Dee Dee, rest in peace, when I graduated from, when I was about to graduate from college, she was like, yeah, enjoy this summer off because this is the last summer off you'll ever have. And I was like, what? Because I was a kid. I'm used to, 3 months summer vacation. She was like, yeah, you're going to get a job. You're only going to have 2 weeks vacation for the whole year. That stuck with me. I never forget when she said that. And she laughed because of the look on my face. I said, that's not the type of life I want to live. I always had that rebel mindset about that. But society teaches us to be sheep, to run the rat race. Always with that carrot that maybe we'll get lucky and I'll be the one that breaks it. Only 1 in 100 ever do. Maybe I'll be the one that wins the lottery. Maybe my kid becomes a professional football or baseball, hockey, or basketball player, and they can buy me a house and retire me. Maybe I'll be a rapper or a singer or Taylor Swift. Hope, maybe. But they dangle that carrot out there, and then they distract you with entertainment and movies and a bunch of other stuff that makes no difference in your life. They're all distractions to carry you through another week, living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. So this thing, The Secret, comes out talking about I can think my way into a better life. And so people started doing that. Like you're beaming something into your head. I'm thinking of wealth. Where's the money? How come it didn't fall in my lap? This stuff doesn't work. This is hocus pocus stuff. I read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Nothing's happened. All right, now let me bring you guys in on The Secret. The current version of Think and Grow Rich is a watered down version of the original. Think of a movie. Aquaman, I guess, just came out. And you're able to see the trailer. The trailer is maybe a 90-second trailer. The movie's maybe 2.5 hours long. So imagine all you are exposed to is just a trailer. You don't actually see the movie. Think and Grow Rich is a trailer. The original version of it was the real deal. And the first publish of it, they were all pulled off the shelves on the orders of a man named Henry Ford. And the reason why is because Henry Ford said that Napoleon Hill was giving away the secret to people who were not qualified to get it. See, it's a secret that's not taught in school, but it is taught in families. You ever seen rich people? They got their own libraries in their homes. Books and things they have access to that's not in the library. If you go to public library, that's not in school. They teach their kids different than everybody else teaches their kids. They passed that information amongst each other. And Napoleon Hill got a glimpse of this inner workings of society, these secret societies, on what they do, what they talk about, how they operate, and wrote a book about it. And Henry Ford said, hell no. They pulled them all off the shelf. He had to rewrite it and take certain things out. Primarily one word. It was the biggest problem, which I'm going to tell you what that word is in a minute. It is the one ingredient that makes everything work. Like I said this morning in Crypto Talk, about if you're creating a dinner and you've got a recipe, and the recipe calls for 7 steps, but you only do 3 or 4 of them, you're missing the others, the recipe's not going to come out right. Even if you just miss one ingredient, it's not the right thing. But they pulled out the most important ingredient to making this whole thing work. So the public doesn't even know about it. So what happened to me, two things happened to me in 2011. I listened to an audio series called Your Wish is Your Command by Kevin Trudeau. Your wish is your command. And then I read a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And then I learned that a gentleman in the network marketing industry that I really looked up to, Holton Buggs, at the time he was making more than $1 million a month. And I told myself, one day, that's my goal, $1 million a month. And he carries that book everywhere he goes. In fact, he will say, it's the only book I read over and over and over again. So you know what I did? I recorded myself reading every chapter and I put it up on YouTube. The thing about The Secret is that it is hiding in plain sight. Anybody can have access to it. You just got to know where to look. Like X-Files, like got to be like Agent Mulder. Know where to look. So I read those 2 things. And here's, to keep it short, what I got from it. There is a law in the universe. And the key thing is one word called vibration. Vibration. That's the key. Thoughts are things, that's true. But what do I mean by vibration? It means that every object in the universe vibrates at different frequencies. My phone, my desk, even though it feels solid, it's not actually solid. There's molecules that's tightened together that keeps it in place, that makes it feel solid. They're just so small you can't see it with your eye. But radiation and stuff can go right through it like there's nothing there. But everything vibrates. And you know this in your life. Have you ever felt when all of a sudden somebody comes into your space? You don't even know that they're there, but you feel somebody's right next to you. Like you can feel their heat, you feel their energy, you feel their vibration, like a force field. Everything vibrates. The biggest vibrator for each human is the brain. Your brain vibrates. And everything is connected. Literally, everything's connected. You got to think of like gravity, like weight, or how can I visualize it? Water. Think of water. And when you drop a drop of water into the pond, you see the ripples. So that one little drop you did over here is going to impact somebody way over here, maybe in a microscopic scale. When Japan had that huge earthquake and tsunami, it happened way over there on that side of the planet, but the waves reached all the way to California. So if we go back 500 years or 300 years and that earthquake happens over there, and you're in California, you have no idea that an earthquake happened over there. You have no idea that a tsunami happened. Just one day, all of a sudden, this wave hits your shore. It's just funny because in California, we just had a rogue wave that hit. Something caused that. It could have been a rock slide. What about that tsunami that happened in the Indian Ocean on Christmas that killed 100 and something thousand people? A huge earthquake at the bottom of the ocean caused a part of an underground mountain to collapse. It displaced all that water, and that water pushed. And now everybody around was impacted by that event. So when you do something, it does not just impact you. You have a direct and indirect impact on everything around you. Your brain does not have eyes. It does not see reality. Your brain only knows what information you are feeding it. And your brain is reacting to your body. Your brain does what you tell it to do. So when you are feeling some sort of way, your brain is going to vibrate that feeling, that emotion. And your brain is like a magnet. And what do magnets do? They attract or they dispel. So you start attracting to you the same thing you're vibrating on. Let me give you an example that can make sense, because I got to break things down in a way that my mom can understand. How many of you have known a woman, and it might have been you, that is in a bad relationship? Not only is she in a bad relationship, she's always been in a bad relationship. And one day her friend's like, maybe you need to go see a therapist or something, a psychologist. So she goes, and the therapist is like, yeah, so what's the problem? Like, well, I'm always in a bad relationship. I don't understand why, and maybe I need some help. How can I attract a good man? So the therapist says, well, what is it that you're looking for in a man? And she says, well, I don't want a man who doesn't have a job. I don't want a man who stays out late and goes to the club with his boys. I don't want a man who's always at the bar drinking and cheating on me and picking up other girls. I don't want a man who's abusive to me, who's abusive to my kids. I don't want a man who's physically and verbally, abusive. And let's stop right there. How does that make you feel? Terrible. I'm always getting guys like that, no matter where I go. Makes me feel terrible. So the therapist says, but you never answered my question. He says, what? I said, what are you looking for in a man? She said, I just answered that. No, you didn't. You told me what you don't want in a man. That's what you're focused on. That's what you're vibrating on. And that's why you keep attracting that same type of guy. Instead, focus on what you want in a man. I want a man with a nice job. I want a man who can provide. I want a man who will love me. I want a man who will spend time with me. I want a man who will cherish me. I want a man who will love my kids. Now, how does that make you feel? It makes me feel good. It makes me feel great. Focus on that, because then your brain starts to vibrate that, and it starts to attract it. You see, every motivational speaker, especially the ones who came out of the Earl Nightingale School, the Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, all these cats, they all teach the secret in different ways. They've chopped it up that best fits them. Les Brown, he's that Sunday preacher. He's that fiery motivator. He's the guy that gets you through the week. If you fall down, if you look up, you can get up. You know, think of all the Les Brown quotes. Then you've got Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn talks about mindset, philosophy of performance. Change your thinking, change your mindset. Then you've got Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins talks about your physiology. Change your physiology, change how you feel. Now, out of the three, all three of them are correct, but one of them gets better results than the other three. And that's Tony Robbins, because he's hitting on the main thing. He teaches it in a way that the average person understands and they don't even realize what they're doing. Change your physiology, change how you feel. Because if you change how you feel, you're changing how you're vibrating. And now you're starting to attract that same frequency to you. Some of you will get what I'm saying here. So when I, in 2011, learned those two things, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles and Your Wish is Your Command by Kevin Trudeau, I decided to put it into action. See, one thing I learned is that this, and this was the hard thing for me. Men, especially men, we got to be in control of our lives. And we're looking at our lives like a magnifying glass. We don't see everything that's going on, like tunnel vision. We only see this, like a submarine that looks at a sonar screen or a radar. You only see what's in your blip. But is that where the world ends? No, the world is huge. There are things happening outside of your radar screen that's going to impact you. So when you make a decision and you start vibrating on that decision like a drop of puddle in water, that's what you're starting to do. It's like a beat, dung, dung, dung. Waves are going out and things are starting to happen outside of your radar screen. This is what happens when people, if you're a Christian, you're praying to God for something better. The thing is, your prayers do get answered. Just not the way you thought it was going to happen. Here's an example. Two individuals are working a job. They both hate their job. It's not getting them anywhere, and they want a better life. They both go home and pray for something better. They come back the next day, and they're both laid off from their job. One guy says, "Wait a minute, Lord. You already knew I was in a bad situation. I'm coming to you. I'm praying to you to give me a better situation. And now I lose the job I had. Now I'm worse off than I was before. Why hast thou forsaken me? I mean, prove to me that you exist." The sun comes up. Prove to me that you can speak to me. Wind comes by his ear. Lord, just touch me. A bird lands on his hand or an insect. Lord, I'm asking you for all these things and you just forsaken me. The other guy was like, wow, okay. That happened to me. Let me make sure I'll go put in for some other jobs. And you know what happens? He ends up getting a better job than he had before. That if he didn't get laid off, he would have never put in for this other job. He would have never had the time to do it or the resources, whatever, and now he's in a better situation. He had to take a step back to move forward. The universe was working behind the scenes and said, I need to move you from your current spot so that you'll be available to be in a new position. Things are happening outside of your radar screen. You just can't see it. The Bible talks about this is where you got to have faith. You got to have eyes that can see, eyesight, faith, belief. I remember when I was 4 years old, I had chicken pox. And I remember my mom, after I had a bath, and she had these socks as muffins over my hands so I couldn't scratch myself. And before going to bed, we had to say our prayer. And she says, so make sure you pray. You thank God for healing you. And I'm 4 years old. I'm like, what do you mean thank God for? Yeah, I'll thank God when I start feeling better. That was my response. She said, no. It's already a done deal. You thank him for his healing powers right now. And I'm like, Mom, there's bumps still all over me. I'm not healed. What do you mean thank him for healing me? When the job's done, I'll thank him. She said, no, you've got to have faith and belief that it's already done because you asked for it. Christianity teaches the secret as well. People just don't know that that's what's being taught. There's a scientific method behind it that validates and proves prayer's workings. And so what she was saying was what the science behind this. The science is, I need to believe that it's done. And that belief, I end up healing my own body because I'm tricking my brain into believing it's a done deal. So the brain starts operating like that. If you see people always thinking like they're sick, and their brain's like, okay, let me send the cues to the body that we're sick. This is the law. It's the universe. It's vibration. So when you ask for something, or whether you're praying for it, whether you're consciously doing it, understand that things are happening outside your radar screen. You've got to have the patience to allow it to work so that it finally gets to you. Most people, what happens is they start thinking these thoughts like The Secret, think and grow rich. I'm thinking it. I'm not rich yet. What they don't know is their original thought on that starts moving things around that they can't see, but then they lose faith because the results haven't happened yet, and they start thinking other thoughts, and they start counteracting their original thought. And now their brain is vibrating on the negative, and it dissipates everything else that was going on. Like, again, some of you will get this. You got to have patience to allow it to work and have your eyeballs open for when the opportunities come your way. It's not God just throwing money in your lap. But all of a sudden a new opportunity comes that you didn't notice before. Imagine like this. Women, those of you who you love shopping, you get new purses, you get new dresses, you get new shoes. And when you do, you notice you're walking down the street and now you're seeing all these other women got the same doggone shoes you got, or purse, or belt, or sweater, whatever it is. You start noticing it everywhere. You're like, dang it, now everybody's got it. No. They were always there. You just didn't even notice. It wasn't on your radar screen. Now it is. Now you're noticing this. So when you start the process, now you're open to see when opportunities and things come your way that normally you would ignore, you would say no to, you wouldn't even know that's there. You now start to see. And it's up to you to have to grab it at that point and not let it pass you by. So here's what happened with me. Here's another way to look at it. When I was a kid too, I loved looking at insects with magnifying glass. And I remember this ant hill. And on the magnifying glass, I only see so many ants. But isn't there an entire colony that I cannot see with that magnifying glass? That ants operating over here is contributing to the colony. I can't even see those ants. Does that mean they don't exist? Does it mean that what those ants are doing over there is impacting what I'm looking at right here? That's what's happening in our life. So I finally had to let go. I was like, hell, man, I might as well just let go. Let me focus on my desire, what I want, vibrate on that, and act as if it's already a done deal. I not fake it till you make it. I act as if it's already a done deal, and I'm waiting for the brain. Where's it at? Bring it on. So I let go. I didn't worry about how I was going to make it happen. I just focused on what it was that I wanted. And here's what happened. And I was actually shocked that it happened this fast. It took about 2 months. This is my first major breakthrough. I was already starting to have a little bit of success in the direct selling industry, but I still had a 9-to-5 job. And here's what happened. I had a Saturday morning presentation. What was this? No, Saturday morning presentation. It wasn't even Zoom. It was call in. Remember call conferencing stuff. And that Saturday morning, I remember it was raining. It was cold. I woke up that morning and I didn't feel like doing it. I'm like, I just roll up, cuddle with my wife and go back to sleep. But now I got up, got on the call, and back in those days, when people join, you hear ding, ding, ding. You hear people coming in. So 1 minute after, there's no ding. 4 minutes after, there's no ding. 5 minutes, no ding. So I thought to myself, okay, well, maybe I didn't send that email out. People don't know. I guess I could just go back, shut it down, go back to sleep. And then I had another thought. It was the act as if. I said, oh yeah, I'm supposed to act as if. Let me act as if there's 1,000 people listening to me right now. And this will be good practice. I did the presentation anyway, and nobody was on the call. It was just me. 10 minutes in, I hear one ding, but I didn't think much of it. I just kept going. When the presentation was over, then I climbed back into bed and went to sleep. Sunday goes by. Monday goes by. I get a email at right before lunch. It said, hey, Brandon, can I give you a call? And I said, sure. So right at my lunchtime, I got a phone call. And the guy on the other end was like, Brandon, I want to apologize for being late on your presentation on Saturday. I got mixed up with the call number and everything, but I was impressed with everything that you had to say. I had been watching you, and man, I went ahead and signed up yesterday. I brought some good leaders on board, and we're off and running. So is there a time that I can be on your next presentation, or can you talk to our team? I was like, what? What are you talking about? I hadn't looked at the report or anything. But that one person joined, and he blew up. And he said that at the time they were looking to choose between 2 or 3 other companies. But because of my presentation, they went with mine. And if I had decided to go back to sleep and I didn't have the thought, remember, act as if, I would not have even known that I lost the opportunity. How many of you think that you might have lost so many opportunities you don't even know you lost it, that they've presented themselves, and you don't even know? And that was my first example that the secret works. Then I had another thought at that same time. I said, it was around November. I remember I said, I need to make an extra $10,000 by the end of the year. I need to make an extra $10,000. I had no idea how. I wasn't making that much in my business yet. Definitely wasn't going to get a $10,000 raise on my job. So traditionally, it wasn't going to happen. There's no way. So society will say, so don't even worry about, don't even think like that. Dreaming's for kids. But no. I knew the law. That's what I need. That's what I'm going to focus on. And I'm going to act as if I already have it. I already know what I need it for, and I expect it to happen. That's what I did. Guess what? I didn't get $10,000. I got $20,000 by the end of the year. By a calamity of things that happened. One was I got a freaking message from the IRS that said, oh, we messed up your tax. We owe you more than you should have. My business exploded. You know, it's just a comedy of things that I didn't know where it was going to happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but that wasn't my concern. My concern was, this is what's going to happen. This is what I need. This is what I'm asking for. I'm practicing the law. And then things like this happened over and over and over. If I fast forward to when my cousin Marnita came on the scene, and I was trying to explain and teach her this, and I said, you know, it might be better just to show you, just hang around me. She will tell you, she has witnessed this over and over and over and over with me. That I'll out of nowhere, I'll say, I need this to happen, and it does. And she's like, one time she was on the phone with me, and she was like, wait a minute, did you just make $25,000? Yeah. So it's one thing to tell her, but it was another for her to witness it over. We're actually going through that process right now, which I'm going to get to in a moment. So going after 2011, that was one of my worst years. Going into 2012 was one of my best years, because that year, it didn't start off great. It didn't. I was still working a 9-to-5 job. My business was starting to grow, but the CEO of the company that I was a part of was afraid that I was about to jump ship to another company and take everybody with me. And he terminated me and kept 2 months of my commissions. This is where I kind of made, it was actually a blessing in disguise, because then my story got picked up by a gentleman by the name of Troy Dooley, who was running a series at the time about 30 under 30 and young entrepreneurs that were making things happen, you know, the hottest new next generation leaders. So even though I was over 30 at that time, 34, 35, I was 35 at the time. You know, it picked up the news, and I made national news at that time. So it put me on the spotlight. And then on top of that, at the same time, you know, they say when it rains, it pours. So not only did I get terminated and I lose that income, the job I was working with gave us notice that they were going to close down our office, and they were moving it up to San Jose, and that we can move with the company up to San Jose or we're out of a job. Now I'm like, wait, hold up. First of all, you ain't paying me enough money barely to live right now, but you want me to uproot and move to San Jose, where it's even more expensive, and uproot my family? And they said, we're not saying you're going to get laid off. We're just saying it's a possibility that it may happen by August of 2012. So I had no income from my home-based business, and I have a pink slip that I'm sitting on. In my eyes, 2012 looked like it was just going to be a repeat of 2011. The secret. I practiced it. Now, you know what happened? I did join another company. I put it to work. And that summer, we were the second fastest growing direct sales company in the entire United States. And the company had been around for more than a year and a half. It wasn't a brand new startup company. It's just we came in and we went to work. Jacqueline Briggs was around at that time. Shauna Ross was around at that time. Miguel Sanabria, Greg Thurman, other people who have been with me for more than 10 years or so. They were around at that time. I was able to walk off my job and retire at the age of 36 years old on my birthday, Friday, July 13th, 2012. My 36th birthday, I got my freedom. And what does that mean? That means I no longer have to answer to a boss or a clock Every day is a Friday to me. I wake up when I'm finished sleeping. I'm my own man. I write my own rules. I'm my own master of my universe. Freedom. Break the chains of the shackles. It was glorious. And then things like this happen. All your bills are paid and you have an extra $10,000 in the bank. How does that make you feel? See, a lot of times you got a little bit of extra money. You're already thinking about what to spend it on, but all of your bills are paid. An extra $10,000 in the bank. What about all your bills are paid, an extra $50,000? All your bills are paid, an extra $100,000. Now, that doesn't mean life is over, because this is what my father had a hard time with. What do you mean you're retired? You're 36. In his mind, all he thought was, oh, I'm going to be a bum now, lay on the couch all day and watch TV. No, I actually work harder now than I did on a job. See, I'm willing to work harder for myself than I am for somebody else. That just makes sense. Well, I'm going to work hard for somebody else's dream. I'm working hard for myself. I work 7 days a week, but I don't feel like I'm working because it's part of my life. I enjoy what I do. I'm doing what I love. When you do what you love, you don't know you're working. And when you don't have to answer to anybody else, you put in your own time and your own hours. It became a lifestyle. I call it the flip-flop lifestyle. That's what I was doing. Going on cruises, traveling around the world, doing whatever the hell I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And the money kept coming in. But everything in life, there's peaks and valleys. So there were always challenges. I made 7 figures. I lost 7 figures. I made it again. I lost it again. There's always peaks and valleys. But the one thing that I learned was that secret, I learned that now I know that I'm always 60 days away from at least $10,000 a month. If I lost everything today, I know I can do something else and still get to at least $10,000 a month in 60 to 90 days. Certain skill set, and I know the secret. Now, let's fast forward. I talk about how I got humbled. And I'm going to do something that is very, very, very rare, where I share, intimate things about myself. I'm human just like everybody else. I have problems. They're just different type of problems. Most of the life is like, main problem is I need more money. You can never not have enough money. I remember back in the day, I was like, man, if I could just make $5,000 a month, I'm good. You make 5,000. Well, maybe it needs to be 10,000. You make 10,000. Well, if I could just get to 20. There's always another level. So this year, I had set certain goals, and I actually, based on my performance, I met those goals. But there are things outside of my control that tripped me up. And all year was cool until right at the end, I got tripped up. I got humbled so bad it shook me. I hadn't been this shook in a very long time. So what happened, it was this. I plan out the new year on October 1st. So I have the fourth quarter, October, November, and December, to get ready for the new year. Most people wait until January 1st and then they say, okay, I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna want to make more money and lose weight. And I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna work hard. And they do that for 3 weeks and they go right back to their old habits. Instead, since I start in October, I have weeks to create that new habit. So now that when I go into the new year, the habit has already been formed. And I'm just cruising in, not just getting started. And I had certain goals of where I wanted to be by the end of this year, because traditionally for me, the months of November and December are always the slowest financially, always the slowest. So I have to make sure, but it's also the months I spend the most money. So I always need to make sure that going into those months, I already have enough money to cover all of my requirements for November, December. I don't stop there. January and February. Even if I don't make a dime over the next 3 months. That's my goal. I achieved that goal. And then anything extra, whatever I do in November and December, is extra that I'm gearing up for the new year, going towards investments like my company, ILCA, taking it to another level and putting in investments, spending money on infrastructure, doing this and that is what that extra money is for. And here's what happened. And it all happened. You know, and they always say, when it rains, it pours. I have multiple streams of income. 3 of my sources could not pay me the money that I was owed. 3. Totaling over $45,000. Now, that's not putting me in the poorhouse. Because like I say, what does Jim Rohn say? Build a financial wall around your family so high nothing can penetrate. So I'm prepared for the worst. But it messed up my plans for the new year and things I wanted to do with ILCA, things I wanted to do with investments, getting ready for the Bitcoin halving next year, making sure I had a certain amount of tokens already in play going into the new year. That got messed up. And then here's something else that got messed up. The number one source where I was pulling more than $25,000 a month got hit with the compliance team, came down with a sledgehammer and said, look, if you want to be here long term, you got to scrap what you thought you were going to do. And we got to go back to the drawing board, and you're not going to be able to do anything to January, which meant not only did I lose the $45K income that I thought I was going to have, I was not even in a position to make any more money. Double whammy. Hey, but sometimes you can't control the things that happen to you. It's how you respond to it. All right, I'll make the necessary adjustments. At the same time, I was preparing for ILCA to drop. I said I was dropping 6 new courses. And I knew I wanted to be, if you know what it takes to make my courses, I got to have, my mind's got to be clear. I got to be, block everything out and just focus on this. So I knew if I don't have to worry about money, I don't have to worry about my investments, I don't have to worry about the business. I got everything on autopilot. That gives me the entire months of November and December to just focus on my new courses. Well, that's gotten disrupted now, right? And I shot myself in the foot because since I didn't need the money, I said, we're going to the Bitcoin halving. I basically want to bless as many people as possible to get this crypto knowledge. I'm only charging $99 for something that's worth $5,000. In hindsight, I wish I didn't do that, but everything's happened for a reason. So I stick to the plan. That's what I said I was going to do. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. So again, for all of you who want everything ILCA, $5,000 value, you're getting it for $99. I ain't getting rich off of it. In fact, I'm actually losing money. But I didn't do that to make money. I did it to plant the seeds. So now I'm sticking with that. The one thing that I can control. See, but when other people will let you down, other businesses will let you down. Vendors, they might have a bad quarter and they can't pay you what they owe you. That happens. But the one thing I can control is my own business. I have my own Stripe account. I have my own collectibles. But I already made a path for that, and I can't change that up. So I was getting a little stressed on that. And then here comes the final blow. It's like my son for Christmas got Mortal Kombat. And you know what they call it? They got finish him. Yeah, the death blow was coming on me, and I didn't even know it yet. And at the same time, this house that I live in, I moved here a couple of years ago because I wanted to be in this city for my youngest son to be in this school district. And I'm renting this house. And I have a deal with the homeowner who is in Oregon. Never physically met them. That at the end of by the time my son's ready to graduate from high school, me and my family was going to make a decision. My wife's from Philadelphia. I'm from LA. She's been out here for the last 20 plus years. So, and I want my son to go to Morehouse College, and my wife doesn't want him to be out there by himself. So we were thinking, we were going to decide at the end of him high school, deciding where we are going to live. Am I going to stay in California? Do I want to buy a house here? I can buy $1 million home, or if I take that same million, I can have a mini mansion anywhere else outside the country. Or after we spent 20 years here, go back to the East Coast to be with her side of the family, as her family's getting older as well. So that was a decision. And so we told him, said, when that time comes, we might even have rent to buy, and I'll buy this house because I like this city. But that was the plan. I get a phone call from the homeowner that says, yeah, we're selling the property by the end of the year. Well, what? Wait, what? That, when she said that to me, that didn't even comprehend in my head. I'm like, wait a second. We had a deal. We discussed this. Well, things have happened and we had to do this and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm sorry. And I'm going to have people coming out to look at the house by next week. What? So imagine, I can handle the other stuff, but what shook me was that somebody else had the power to move me. So now, on top of everything that I knew I had to get done and worry about, now I got to worry about trying to find somewhere else to live. It's not about the money. Making sure that I can be in the same area where my son can finish off his school. Making sure that there's things available. I don't know, but if you don't know, the housing market ain't very good right around Christmas and January. And I look, there ain't no too many things either for sale or even for rent, unless I go way out, which takes my son out of this. Which was not the, he's thriving. He's got a 4.1 GPA. He's thriving. So now I have all that on my mind, and then trying to find a place. And they said, well, if we sell it to an investor, they may still want you there for another year or two, but we can't guarantee that. And that I had a problem with. I have no control over where I'm going to be laying my head. Somebody else can make a decision. I fired my boss so that I'm my own boss. But somebody else was able to just say some shit and it uproots me. That messed me up. But the secret, I know the secret. And I had to pause for a second. I had to check myself. Let go. Because I have said, I'm not here to be a millionaire. I've made millions. I'm here to be a billionaire. So if I make a statement like that, and if I'm vibing on that, then I know the universe is moving and things are happening outside of my radar screen and outside of my control. So instead of trying to control it, I need to roll with it and recognize where there are opportunities. One thing I learned too, the older I got, no matter how bad things are, you've been in bad positions before in life, yet some way God has brought you through. You've survived. I'm sure there's been times that things have gone on in your life and you don't know how you were going to get out of it, but you did. So when something new happens now, there should be no doubt in your mind that you will get past this too. It sucks, yes. But you're going to get past it, but not just past it or survive. You're going to thrive. You got to find. And so I had to think about that. And my mom had to remind me too. So I did find something that keeps me in the same area so my son can stay at the school, but I have to downgrade. Going for a 4-bedroom $1 million home to a 3-bedroom townhouse for the next year and a half. My ego was hurting on that. because I could get a 5-bedroom if I wanted somewhere else, but it takes away. And so I had to realize, okay, recognize, why is this happening? What can I get from it? And another silver lining, and I'm not going to go into detail on this part though, but from a personal perspective of my family, it's made me put a highlight on my family in a way that I knew I had to do, but this is forcing me to do it and not kick it down the curb. And as a result of this, something is going to get healed in my family that if this didn't happen, it wouldn't have even been addressed. And I'm actually thankful for that. I'm grateful for that, because now I'm looking at it from a different perspective. I'm like, wow, I had to be slapped to be able to pay attention and to handle certain business that I knew I had to, and I was just avoiding it. So there's always a silver lining. So it keeps me be all good. Next week, I'll be moving to my new spot, and that's why I'm going to be off for the whole week. And then we start off a new year. At the same time, I forgot also, I had one investment that was supposed to come in that hasn't come in. So if I look at what I worked for in 2023, comes up to almost $2 million worth of value. Because that one investment's 1.6 million. That's still held up. So I did the work worth of $2 million in value for 2023. Yet things that still happened to sweep me off my feet. So like I say, there's wherever you think you have problems, there's always another level of obstacles that if you want to grow, that the universe will throw at you, that you have to figure out how to get through if you want to get to that next level. And I realize that I'm on the verge of going to another level that I've never been on before. That's why these things are happening. And I'm being tested about how I'm able to respond to it, how I'm able to navigate it, how I'm able to make it a win and not fold. A lot of people fold and quit and give up. Instead, where's the silver lining in this? Where's the win? So at that same time, then I got offered to be the crypto educator of Vara. Do you guys realize how big this company is going to be? I have no doubt they're going to be $1 billion company. And another deal, now I can't say too much, but dropped almost 6 figures in my pocket. Just like that. Literally. I'm not playing. I was showing my mom the other day while I was visiting her. She was doing her Bitcoin thing. I showed her, yeah, it's 6 figures right here. It just happened. I made a deal. So I say all that to say this when it comes to The Secret. You can't control the things that happen to you, but you can control how you respond to it. And you actually can control that things will happen to you. You've got to watch your thoughts, watch what you say, watch how you feel. What are you vibing at? Because whatever it is, you're attracting it. Since most people think that money is evil, think that money is bad, do you realize that the brokest people in the world think about money more than wealthy people do? Like, wait, what? Rich people don't think about money. They think of resources and they think of lifestyle. You go to the store, you don't even worry about the cost of it. You buy something because you want it, not whether or not you can afford it. Broke people are thinking, how am I going to pay my bills at the end of the month? Will I have enough money to get groceries? Can I put enough money for my gas just to get to work? And because of that fact, when you think about money, you're thinking of it in a negative connotation. It makes you feel bad to think about money. So you've got to figure out how to take that negative feeling about money out and replace it with the positive. so that you're vibing on a positive level, so you're bringing more abundance to you and not repelling it from you. Broke people are repelling money from them and they don't even know it. They don't even realize it. Money don't grow on trees. I can't afford it. You're asking the wrong things. How can I afford it? I want it. Make it happen. And then you got to go to work. See, people, they watch The Secret. They think, I'm thinking to grow rich, and I'm sitting here and I'm waiting. No, you've got to be in motion. Everything is in motion. Life is motion. Life is about change. That's the one constant in life. Taxes, death, and change. Nothing stays the same. So you've got to be in motion. You can't just sit on your ass and expect something to happen. So you combine your actions with the right mindset, and you're vibrating on the right level. As Tony Robbins says, changing your physiology. You have no choice but to have success. It's the law of the universe. The universe has to make it happen, because it's like gravity. You jump off a building, you're going down. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Same way with this. If you're vibrating a certain way, it's a scientific thing. You're sending out a signal, and the signal is going to come back. It's just most people are sending out the wrong signals. Most people is vibrating the wrong way. They're feeling bad. And I had to check myself. I had to make sure with all of this crap that happened to me that I had no direct impact. It was not my fault. It messed up. This woman messed my physiology up talking about I'm selling the house. If I allowed myself to vibrate on that feeling, I would not have found this place where I'm going to now to keep the family where it needs to be. I wouldn't have been in the right headspace. And I wasn't. There was a couple of days there I was gone. You guys didn't realize it. I still was on schedule. Crypto talks, diamond classes, and all that. But you have no idea what I was feeling and going through behind the scenes. That's why you never believe social media people. They're acting like their lives are so great and perfect. Please. That's all fake. You don't want their life. You want to create a good life for you. Watch always who you're listening to and who you're following. So the next question is how? If Brandon, I'm hearing this for the first time, I've never done anything like this before. How do I make that happen? How? Here's where you can get started. One, you got to plant the seeds in your head. You got to read. You got to read. If you don't like reading, you can, all of those stuff is on the net. You can listen to audio recordings. Think and Grow Rich, Your Wish is Your Command, The Science of Getting Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, this. You got to read. The next, though, is you go into the mirror in the bathroom, and this is the difficult thing. And you look yourself in the mirror, you ask yourself a question. Ask yourself, do you like you? All right? Look at yourself. Do you like the person you see? Would I sign up with you? Would I work with you? And it's okay if the answer is no. You got to be honest with yourself. You can't lie. Jim Rohn talks about affirmations. He says affirmations are good if you're affirming the truth. If you lie to yourself, you're really lost. And then when you tell yourself the truth, then you can do this and say, what type of person do I want to be? What type of leader would I sign up with? What traits did that person need to have? What work ethic do they need to have? So you identify what you're missing, and now you know what to work on. You don't know how many times I hear people say, Brandy, you only have success because you be signing up big superstars. You've got a following, as if I didn't have a following at some point. I had to build it one way or another. I had to start from scratch somewhere. I went 10 years broke. So you figure out, what leader do you want? What superstar leader do you want to have on your team? And then you become that leader. You become that superstar. The biggest superstar you will ever sign up is you. The hand that you will be able to rely on the most is the one at the end of your own wrist. That's why I know I can lose every single person that I have in my network right now, start from scratch, and still be at 5 figures a month in 60 to 90 days. Because I'm the superstar. You've got to think like this. And when you start to be that way, you will start to attract other superstars to you. Winners hang out with winners, not losers. Look at the 5 closest friends around you. I guarantee your bank accounts is around the same. You need to change your circle, and you will start to attract more into your circle. And then you change that circle, and you're always moving up. And then you get to a point where, if this is not, I'm saying this to prove a point, not to brag. But if I were to go on social media tomorrow and I make a post saying, oh my gosh, I am so excited. I just found the next greatest thing. I'm making a move, and I'm also making a list. Who would want to be down? I'll have 50 people ready to sign up and not even know the name of the company. It didn't start that way. You've got to become an attractive person so that people will be attracted to you. You're never going to sign up attractive people if you're not attractive yourself. I'm not talking about looks. And it's really about your work ethic and what you do. I hear people tell me all the time, Brandon, I be posting about this and nobody's responding. And I go to your Facebook page, or I can go to your Twitter page, your Instagram, and look at your history over the last 6 months to a year. Hell, I wasn't signed up with you either. I'm seeing who you are, how you operate. You've been promoting 10 things over the past 2 months. You're not consistent. You don't even believe what you're saying. You don't even show any passion about it. One post and you expect to sign up 100 people? Any single one of you can tell me. I'll look at your Facebook profile and I know why you're not having much success. It's not about everybody else. It's about you. So what, oh wow, I'm getting too long. What exercise can you also do outside of looking at the mirror, identifying who you are, knowing what it is that you need to do to become that, or knowing who you want to become, and then you work to become that person. And the next is, and this is something that you can do tonight. What if I told you I can give you a lesson or a job to do, that you start doing it tonight, you will start to see results. Now, depending on how far back you are, it can happen slowly or it can happen fast, but this is guaranteed to work. I'm guaranteeing you. How? This is what you do. I'm going to ask you this question, and I want you to start thinking about it, because it's already 9:30 Eastern time. So some of you guys getting ready for bed. Before you go to sleep tonight, I want you to sit there and ask yourself this question. What would you do in your life if money was no longer an issue in your life? What does that mean? That means if Monday morning rolls around, or Tuesday, because that's when everybody goes back to work, you don't have to get up and go to work. You can do whatever you want. What would you do? Money wasn't an issue. And I already know some of you, oh, well, I'm going to pay off my debt, and I'm going to buy a new car, and I'm going to buy a new house, and I'm going to take care of my kids and send my grandma a house, and I'm going to go take a vacation. I'm going to the beach. I'm going to Brazil and everything. You start thinking all these things. All right, I'm going to make it a little harder. That's fine, but that's not enough. You do all those things. You buy all the things that you feel is what you need to make you feel good. Unfortunately, that's a temporary feeling. And a lot of people that have never had access to wealth before don't understand this until they get through it. This is why 70% of lottery winners, not only do they go broke within 10 years, but they always say, I wish I never won the lottery. So let's get the basic stuff out the way. You've already bought all your toys, your car, your houses, your jet skis, your boat, your yacht. You got your little private plane. You went shopping in Rodeo Drives and in Paris, France, and in New York. You've taken a 6-month vacation. A year goes by. You wake up on Monday morning. You don't know what else to buy because you've already bought and then you have everything that you want. But you have more money in the bank now than you did before you went on your shopping spree. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? This is where it gets difficult because most people don't have this thought. What are you passionate about? What would you rather be doing right now if you didn't have to go on a 9-to-5 job? What would you be doing? And you can now do all of this. Find what you're passionate about. What would you like to be doing with your day? And then, and here's the key. How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel that all bills are paid and you bought everything you've ever wanted and now you're able to do whatever you want? How does that make you feel? Capture that feeling. Act as if it's already a done deal. And just take a moment to vibrate on that level. What attitude would you have? Smile on your face. You'd be able to have the best night's sleep ever because you don't have a worry on your brain. You're not worried about money. Keeps people up at night. You sleep like a baby. Wake up when your body wakes you up. How does it make you feel? Capture that good feeling and then go to sleep. Now, here's why this is important. Because you did this consciously. When you go to sleep, your brain doesn't sleep. Your subconscious is still wide awake. You ever heard that term? You know what? Yeah, let me sleep on it and I'll get back to you in the morning. Let me think about it. Let me sleep on it. Because your brain is still working out, trying to figure out the answer while you sleep. And you wake up in the morning, you got some new ideas. You got a fresh start. You're looking at things from a different angle. That's not hocus pocus. That's reality. So you go to sleep with this good vibration, this vibe, you're going to wake up feeling a little bit better than you normally do. And then it's going to fade away very quickly. Why does it fade away very quickly? Because then you get snapped back, right back to reality. But this is okay. See, there's neurons in your brain that are thick of negative thoughts, negative impulses, negative feelings and emotions. This isn't going to change overnight. You need to override those negative neurons with positive ones, with good feelings, with, instead of having a scowl on your face all day, sometimes you start smiling. Make it a point to just smile a little bit more. That's something I have a problem with. You don't think I have what's called like a resting bitch face? Like, what's wrong, Brent? Nothing's wrong. Yeah, you look like you're pissed off. My bad. I try to keep a smile on my face. Smile. Do things that make you happy. I got a keyboard over there on the side that late at night I play the keyboard, listen to music, dance, whatever it does, things, laugh, watch comedy, things that change. This is the Tony Robbins thing. What changes your physiology? I walked on fire with him in Florida. So I know the technique. You change your physiology, you change your mind, your subconscious is working while you're sleeping, how to make that vision a reality, how to attract it to you. As far as your brain knows, your brain thinks it's real. Because you're acting as if. So the brain's like, I got to bring things that keep this feeling going. But then the moment you change your emotion, your brain starts vibrating on that. Do that process again when you wake up in the morning, before you start your day. A lot of people will pray before they start their day. I remember watching my father always do that. So you're capturing that feeling again. Then do it again at lunchtime, on your lunch break. You guys know every summer on my birthday, I go to a certain park. And this is park that is a couple of blocks away from where I used to work. And on my lunch break, I would walk down to that park with my headphones on. People thought I was listening to music. I wasn't. I was listening to Jim Rohn, Les Brown, and all of them. Because I knew one day I'll be able to come to this park whenever I feel like it. Not just because it's on my lunch break. And I made that a reality. Act as if. Feel it. Trick your brain. A lot of people do that already and they don't even realize they do it. This is why facts don't matter when the mind is right. If you've made up your mind to something, there's nothing in the world that's going to be able to change it because you don't believe it. Emotions are one of the most powerful things in the universe. If you can learn how to control your emotions, and then you can learn how to trick your emotions to work in your favor. See, my goal again this year, 2024, is going to be another 7-figure year. Only this time I'm making some adjustments to make sure that that happens by my own hand, not from another client or somebody else who can screw me over some kind of way. I'll make sure it happens by my own hand. I'll do it with ILCA. And I'm going to remove anything that's going to be in the way of making that happen. Any obstacle. I don't care who you are. You've got to be thinking about your ultimate goal. That's what matters. That's where it's important. And act as if it's already a done deal. So you do this exercise and you're able to do it on a consistent basis. You will start to change your mindset. And all of a sudden, things are going to start happening in your life. And now I expect things to happen. I have a phone call next Tuesday where somebody wants to drop a bag on me, and I'm leaning towards no, turning it down. We'll see. But things start to happen. I expect. Because I knew what I was asking for. And I accept what's happening to me right now because it might be, I don't even use the word might, it is necessary to move me to where I'm supposed to be. In other words, I'm not supposed to be here at this moment. And instead of looking at it from a negative, let me see what I can gain from this. Look at it from a positive. Accept it. Keep moving forward. Not get tripped up. I almost got tripped up. I ain't gonna lie. It messed with my ego. And then it reminded me, I always say I never want to have that feeling again that I'm not in control, that somebody else can dictate how I move. And for a moment, I thought I was beyond that, and somebody reminded me that I'm not. by that one simple, I'm selling the house. It's like I was watching Billionaire, and Axelrod, worth $10 billion. And he had to up and move and basically go ghost. And he was like, wow, what's that feeling where somebody has more money than me and more power than me? So this is what it feels like. Yeah, and this I know, I will never, ever be in a position like this again. I will never allow anybody else to be able to, based on what they want to do, dictate what's going to happen to me. I'm done with that. I thought I was above it, and I'm not. So I'm done with that now. That's my own lesson. So, all right. So that is our special, The Secret, tonight. I hope this touched some of you. Most of you, you may get it later on. One or two of you will really get what I'm saying and then put it to action. I am very grateful and feel blessed and thankful for all the blessings that I do have. Because at the same time I was feeling tripped up, there's always somebody in a far worse position than you. There's people dying on Ukraine and Israel and Gaza, and there's people that are uprooting their entire lives in the South and trying to move up north with nothing but a backpack to their name. There's people that, I mean, there's so many challenges out there, and don't ever feel guilty because you think, well, my problem's not as bad as somebody else's, so I shouldn't even complain. No. You still have emotions and feelings with your problem. So don't ever feel guilty about it, but always feel blessed, thankful, and grateful for what you have, where you are, because the universe responds to that as well. It wants to give you more of it. Have that feeling. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, what's not working, focus on the things that are working and what you do have, and let those blessings continue to come, and you build off of that. I am blessed and highly favored no matter what. I accept that. I appreciate it. And I turn around and I want to extend it to use my talents and ability, not to be selfish for myself, but to bless as many people as I possibly can with my platform and my reach. My goal now is to make it bigger, much bigger than what it currently is. And I'm focused on the people that's going to help make that happen. And I'm going to get rid of the people who are not making that happen, and they're in the way of it. Some people are going to get shocked. So with that, I wish you guys a happy new year. I might go live a couple of times next week where time permits, but I will be back on it Monday, January 8th. I will be doing a special broadcast on Bitcoin halving, and the only people who will be invited to that are those who are taking advantage of the Everything ILCA for the month of January. Everything ILCA. So what does that mean? That means if you go here for $99, you'll be able to expose everything about ILCA. Somebody asked, how do I get mentorship from you, Brandon, if I'm in the UK? You start by joining my ILCA community. That's where you start. ILCA.digital 2024 and beyond. And it's only $99. In hindsight, yeah, I wouldn't. Knowing now, if I knew back then what happened to me now, I wouldn't have done this. All right, I would have put in a different plan. I don't know which Facebook group. Well, Marnita put that in the Facebook group. All right, or you can shoot me a private message and I'll get you the link. But just to say on this side, and I was telling my mom this yesterday, there's only 5 years. We have 5 years left, 4.5 years left for this window of opportunity of this blockchain revolution for the average person. before it gets out of the reach of the average person. It might be even less than that. I'm saying about 4.5, 5 years. It might only be 2. So this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I can sleep at night knowing that I at least attempted to help as many people as possible. You can drag, lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. Well, at least I'm leading everybody to the water, but it's up to you to take that drink. And our community is the first step to help you make that happen, get you prepared, getting ready for the Bitcoin halving, and opportunity to change your family tree, regardless of any obstacles that go on in your life. I will be also, there's another special broadcast I'll be doing in the 3rd week of January as well, because that Monday is the most depressing day of the year for the most people. And it's also the time where most people commit suicide or attempt to commit suicide. So I'll be doing a special broadcast for that as well, because it's mental issues. We've all been there before. So some people, they fall victim to it. So I'll be doing that special broadcast. But we're going to have a lot of fun in 2024. And also 2024 is going to be a year of transition. There's going to be a lot happening that we don't even see coming yet, that we've got to be prepared for. Unfortunately, I still see a lot of pain and suffering, but I also see a lot of opportunity. And that's what we got to be focused on, the opportunity side. So I thank you guys for taking a listen to me tonight. I'm going to play one last video to leave you with. Know your why. Know your why. It's a video about a guy singing the Amazing Grace in 2 different versions. You've got to be the second version. You got to vibrate on that level. Okay? All right, everybody. I will see you guys in a week and a half. Here's the video. Happy New Year's if I don't talk to you again. Bitcoin Brandon out. Bye-bye.
Sometimes when people hear the phrase, how do I know? The next thing they say is what? How do I know what? But the key really isn't to know what. The key is to know why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For instance, my why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. My what is stand-up comedy. My what is writing books. My what can be going out with some friends to eat. In fact, another what that has moved me towards my why is a web series that we have out now called Break Time. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you should subscribe to the channel. We do a series called Break Time on YouTube. So 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode. One episode in particular, I'm about to show you a clip to. We were in Winston-Salem. So Break Time, this is how it works. I travel the country, I do stand-up comedy, probably an hour and a half at an event. And in the middle of my show, I'll just sit down and start talking to the audience. And funny just happens. Or I'll meet somebody who's really interesting. So I met this one guy, and he said that he teaches music at a school. I was like, all right, you teach music, can you sing? And then I'm just gonna show you the clip. Check it. So you're a musical director. Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know which version I'm talking about. Just see if that exists. Let me see what you got.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. see.
So here's the thing. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time I asked him to sing, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose.